Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Myra and I am a registered nurse. So today's video is going to be about how exactly and the steps you have to take to become a travel nurse. So I know that in my previous video, I talked about, basic generalized tips on, travel nursing, but, I made it more with intention of explaining my personal experience in that. But today's video, I want to share with y'all the step-by-step and what you have to do exactly. So if you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let's get started. So first of all, you have to know and have at least an idea of where you want to go. For example, we have different options. You can either do in-state, out-of-state, or even overseas. You also want to keep in mind how much time you're willing to go for. So different agencies offer obviously different time frames. So your standard time would be 13 weeks, which is about 3 months. And then you have those random contracts that pop out of nowhere and they're like 8-week contracts. And I've seen some that are about 6 months. It just depends what you want. I think that if it's your first time doing an assignment, I would stick to at least the 3-month, which is a 13-week contract, just because you don't know how the environment is. You're new to that area, you're new to that place. So you just want to make sure you don't stay and commit for a long time, because what if you don't like it? You want to make sure before you call or reach out to any agency, you want to make sure and do your research. The reason I say this is because we go online and we find all these companies and we just click on the first one that we see. You have to do your research. Sometimes some companies will offer you, more than others. And I know it is a hassle to be like reaching out to different companies, but at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. Try not to just stick with one. I know some nurses who have done that and they fully regret it, and they're already saying, I'm going to switch companies because they ripped me off. They're saying, hundreds and hundreds of dollars each month, all because I didn't do my research. It's a lesson, but you just kind of don't want to be in that position. So just try to do your research as much as you can before you go off and start contacting these companies. One other thing that happens a lot, and once you start reaching out to the companies, y'all are going to know and you're going to be so annoyed. Just because, when you search up those companies, there are some websites that it's a company that I guess they send out numerous contact information from what you put in their system. They'll send out your contact information to several companies. So sometimes there is a certain website or a company that has a lot of different companies in that one system. So then they'll send out your information to different companies and you'll start getting like hundreds and hundreds of calls every day. Well, I'm being a little bit exaggerated, but not hundreds and hundreds of calls, but you'll start getting like at least, give or take like 5 to 6 calls a day of different companies, different agencies trying to reach out and asking you, hey, I saw your information that you reached out. I know you're interested in travel. Wherever you want to go, we're here to help you, which is great. And if you find one that you're interested in, then you can go ahead and text them back or give them a call. And they usually will leave a voicemail. So your phone's going to be blowing up. I know what I'm telling you. It's going to be blowing up for several days, weeks, until you finally just ignore them and then they'll stop bothering you. But for them, or you can just be like, I'm not interested, and then you just let them know, I'm not interested in your company, or I'm not interested in traveling. Whatever excuse you have, just let them know so they can stop calling you, because it is a lot. They will be calling you from like random numbers, long distance numbers, and you're just like, well, who is this? You don't even know who's calling you anymore. It gets to that point. So once you've already chosen the company you want to be with, the next step is that they will assign you a recruiter, right? So usually the first time you call, that person that, either calls you back or reaches out to you is usually for the most part going to be your recruiter. Remember, if you don't like your recruiter, if you feel that, you know what, like they're not doing the best for me, they're not, pushing for me, or they're not helping me out that much, you can always switch recruiters. Don't be embarrassed to be like, you know what, I'm sorry, like I just don't feel that you're helping me out. Sometimes you just have to be straight up so they can know that, you're serious, that you want this opportunity. So don't be afraid to speak out and just say and be clear of what you want, because at the end of the day, they're paid, by commission, and obviously the more nurses they recruit, the more money they make too. So it's kind of like you're helping them out, and they, it's only fair for them to help you out. So I just say, like, just pick wisely and just get to know your recruiter and just make sure that they're doing the most for you. Don't just settle for anyone. So your recruiter is basically your go-to person. They're the ones that are going to know basically everything, all the types of job offers out there. They're the ones that are going to submit you to those job offers. For each company, there is certain requirements that you need. Obviously, first of all, you have to be a registered nurse. Second of all, they'll ask you, fill out an application, do this. All the companies will ask you to fill out an application, and you're not obligated to, but they will ask you to. But for the company that you do choose, the step is you fill out an application on their website, you make an account, fill out application, and then, you just add your education, your work experience, all of those things, your certificates, your licenses, you're basically building up your profile. Once you find a job that you are interested in, the recruiter will then submit you to that job. And if you have a resume, you can also submit that to your profile. The recruiter will then submit you to that job, and usually they'll start asking you for more, paperwork, like your updated vaccines and, like your flu shot, your Hep B, all of those things. They'll start asking for those things once you actually have the job, or at least that's what happened with me. But if you can send it to them before, great, because those are the things that you're going to need either way. Your CPR certification, your ACLS, your PALS, whatever type of certification you have, you just upload it on your profile and they should have access to that. So before you're actually submitted to an assignment, your recruiter will then send you a pay package. So what a pay package consists of is basically the amount of money you're going to be making before taxes. Every specialty is different. So, it just depends on the specialty. I can't really give you an exact number just because, I don't, every specialty is different. Everyone gets paid differently. The pay package consists of the amount that you are going to be paid hourly, your housing stipend, and your meals or per diems. The whole breakdown is going to be on your pay package. Then, you go over the pay package, and if you're okay with the amount that they are offering you, then that's when you can tell your recruiter, you know what, I'm ready to go. Then you can submit me. They shouldn't be submitting you without you giving them the okay and without you actually seeing how much you're going to get paid. For the most part, they're pretty good at that. They will give you the pay package, and then they'll tell you, you know what, are you ready? You think this is a good fit for you? Are you okay for me to submit you? Once you give that okay, then they'll go ahead and submit you. So once you're submitted, it usually takes several days. I haven't had any experiences where it takes longer, but I have heard that it can take about sometimes 2 weeks. It just depends. So usually it takes about several days for the manager to reach out. The manager will be the one reaching out to interview you. So usually a recruiter will send you great tips on interview questions and things like that, just so you can prepare. And they'll let you know, hey, they'll call you and be getting updates from you and just asking you, has the manager called, just things like that. But they will give you great tips. They usually email you the tips for the most part. And you just go over them, just ask as many questions as you can to the manager, and obviously make clear whatever you want them to know before you actually are on board to take the job. That's very important. So once they give you a call, the manager there will explain, you know, how long the orientation is, you know, and if they don't, then you can just ask all those questions. Like I said, orientation. So orientation, like I explained in my previous video, it differs in every place. Like I mentioned, in my personal experience, I had a whole day of orientation, like a whole 12-hour shift of orientation. And then in another facility, I only had 4 hours. You know, so every facility is different. But, you know, if you feel that you need more time, then you can always speak to your manager. But, you know, you want to make that clear beforehand, before you just go in and it's a whole surprise. You know, you don't want to go in and get all these surprises. You want to be ready and know what to expect. Just because, you know, remember, as a travel nurse, you don't have time to learn all these new things. You know, you are supposed to be already trained and ready to go. That's why they're paying you more. They expect you to know these things and to move at a faster pace. So at this point, you know, you've already been working for the unit. It's almost going to be your 3 months. So it gets to a point towards the end of your contract or towards the middle of your contract when the manager will ask you, you know, hey, would you like to extend? And if the manager doesn't ask you, for the most part, your recruiter asks you. They'll ask you if you want to extend. And usually it just depends on the needs of the facility, you know, it just depends. But for the most part, they usually always need nurses. And a lot of the times, a lot of travel nurses do renew their contract with the same facility. Instead of doing the 13 weeks, you extend it and you commit to another 13 weeks, right? Some people are like, I love it, I'm going to extend, you know, and there's no problem with that. You know, it just depends how you feel. If you feel comfortable, you know, then go for it. I mean, it's up to you. So the last step to this is, you know, either you renewed or not. Let's just say you didn't renew. So if you renewed, then, you know, you just continue the same thing that you're doing, you know. But let's just say you didn't renew and now you want to find something different. I would advise y'all to start looking into your next assignment, maybe like a month before. Sometimes the needs aren't there. You know, sometimes the needs aren't there yet to a specific place you want to go. And sometimes the needs are there like 2 weeks before, you know, your assignment ends. But if you're like me, I like to be prepared. I get stressed out. You know, I need to know what my next move's gonna be. I need to know where I'm gonna go. I need to know that I'm for sure getting that job. You don't want to go at that exact moment and be like, oh, well, okay, I accept this assignment. And then, you know, you don't even have where to stay. You don't even know the area. You don't even... You know, it's just, I mean, to me, it's very stressful. So, I mean, but if you're that type of person that can handle that and is like very, you know, quick at getting things done, and I mean, kudos to you, like, awesome. That's great. But me, I'm not like that. Like, I need to be prepared like a month before. It's just, there's no way. So just be ready and, you know, try to decide, you know, where you want to go, what you want to do. This process is going to repeat itself depending where you want to go, you know, how far you want to go. Obviously, it does change when you do have that like really long distance move from home. I mean, it's going to be different. So at that point, I would think, you know, prepare yourself at least a month before, especially if you're going from state to state. You want to be ready even 2 months before. You know, you want to do your research on that area and be sure that, you know, you're safe and be sure that where you're going to live is legit. You know, you just never know nowadays, right? So yeah, so thank you for watching this video. I hope it helps you guys. You know, give it a thumbs up, like I said before, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks, guys. Bye. So I know that in my previous video...